One concept I developed about 12 years ago are called neural charge sessions. I wrote articles about that both on Thibarmy and on T-Nation. It's basically the use of very short session, 15-20 minutes, where there is zero fatigue being created. All you do are 2 to 4 very explosive exercises. Could be jumps, could be throws, could be light Olympic lifts, could be light squats or bench press done for maximum acceleration. Doesn't really matter. But the time under tension should be less than 5 or 6 seconds. So if you're sprinting, it's 5 seconds, maybe 3 or 4 jumps, maybe 2 or 3 reps on power snatches, doesn't matter. And you take ample rest intervals, you want zero metabolic fatigue. So no sweating, no getting out of breath, no lactic acid accumulation, no fatigue. The only purpose of that session is to amp the brain up. I've started using that 12 years ago in the morning of an evening game with hockey players, for example. And then I noticed that the gains, the benefits, are actually shown up to the next day. So even if a player would play like at noon on Saturday, if we did the session on Friday, they would feel better on the ice. Now it's funny because I recently read a study that tested the effect of that kind of training, explosive work, light work, on performance, and they saw that power production is increased for 24 hours significantly, and it still remains slightly more elevated up to 48 hours, just proving what I did 12 years ago. Now, when you're working with an athlete, in-season training, first purpose, maintaining strength, maintaining size, but you can also use those quick sessions the day before a game, or even the morning of an afternoon or evening game, to potentiate the nervous system. You're amping up your neurons, you're increasing dopamine, increasing adrenaline, which makes it easier to get into the zone. This kind of training can help you perform better. I've done my best performance as an Olympic weightlifter when I did a light but explosive session in the morning of a competition. I did my worst performance when I took 2 days off before a competition because my nervous system was completely shut down and inhibited. It was too hard to get into the zone. So that's another tool you can use as a strength coach. You can use very short, explosive session, zero fatigue, to potentiate the nervous system. The one caveat, the one thing you need to be careful of is doing too much work, creating too much fatigue, or taking rest intervals that are too short. These 3 things will backfire on you. It will either create a resistance in the adrenergic receptors, can create too much fatigue, can deplete muscle glycogen, going against what you're trying to accomplish. Basically, I call that interrupted coitus sessions. When it starts to feel good, you need to stop. Because what will happen is after 15 minutes of this explosive work, dude, I want to lift something because you will be amped up like crazy. Stop. That's where it's gonna be good. That's when the next day you're gonna outperform. Or 6 hours later, you're gonna outperform. If you continue when you start to feel good, you will lose the benefit. In season, potentiating training or potentiating sessions are extremely effective if you use them right. If you're an athlete who needs to peak at a precise date, I also use them. For example, I work with a member of the national bobsleigh team. Before his tests were on Saturday. Most people would have him rest on Friday. I didn't. He rested on Thursday. Rest on Thursday, and then a neural charge session on Friday. He beat all his PRs significantly on Saturday because his nervous system was amped up. If he rested, he would actually have performed less. So it's a tool, learn to use it, practice using it before using it in season to see the effect, because it will be different with every athlete, but it's a very powerful tool. That's the last part of in-season training. So now you know that you need to train in season. You know what you need to do to maintain strength and size in season with minimal effect on recovery. You know what you need to avoid losing performance or increasing the risk of injury, and you know how to potentiate the nervous system to outperform the opponent in your games. So use these tools wisely. You're going to be a better strength coach for it.